Hello again, and welcome to another, well, interesting episode of Shit, They're Everywhere. This crappy car. I have before me the engine that was pulled from the junkyard a little over a week ago for the Basura Boo. And I've got it all torn down, well, about as far as I'm going to go with it. That's interesting. I didn't notice that before. I've had it torn down about as far as it's going to go. And I wanted to show you a few things before we started putting it back together. First off, I've got to do a lot of cleaning. I've got some mating surfaces here that are going to have to be fully cleaned. And I'll do a nice job with this and some acetone and some detergent, and we'll get that all spiffy. This was the cylinder right here. This is number 2. This is the cylinder that had some issues with leakage, and it turned out to be the exhaust valves. And I can show you a picture or two of that, or we can even do a little short video that says, look, this is how it leaks, that sort of thing. But what I wanted to talk to first is the accessory drive system. This is the accessory drive system on this, or timing belt system, and accessory drive system, sorry, but timing belt system, I said the wrong thing there, is really one of the lifebloods of a modern engine, because they almost all run timing belts or timing chains because they're overhead cams. You can see the sprockets here. This sprocket is half the size of that. This has to run 2 revolutions for 1 here. That's normal on a 4-stroke. And there's a series of idlers. This is an idler here. This is an idler. And this is the water pump here. And this is another idler here. Now, this engine has 190,000 miles on it. We're going to replace pretty much all of this stuff because it's worn. It's really worn. And I wanted to show you that right now is that these are really nice ball bearings. The Japanese make some really nice bearings, and they're typically whisper quiet, except for these. If you hear that, that's a noisy bearing. It's not supposed to sound like that. It should be dead silent. This one makes noise as well. Not only does it make noise, but it's got a little bit of wobble back and forth. This one's got, you can hear that. And this one's really obnoxious. What will happen on an engine like this is these idlers will fail, and when they fail, there goes the engine. And that happened to this engine. Not only did it happen to this engine, but whoever put it back together didn't quite complete the job. And I found this as I was taking it apart. You see this right here? See how it's moving back and forth? That's a couple of degrees. Now, in cam lore, that means that this thing is advancing and retarding itself probably about 4 degrees, give or take. I'd have to actually pull out a dial indicator, measure the slop, and then calculate the degrees to be able to tell you the exact amount. But what happened here is that this, if I can pull it off now, this engine, oh, you know, that's what that does. It's right there. This engine did lose its timing belt, and when it lost its timing belt, it was quite a shock to the system, and it opened up this keyway. This is a Woodruff key right here, which looks like a little half circle. And there's some slop here, and I don't like slop like this in a timing system because it does impact the valve timing. I like really crisp acceleration. And this is going to take some of that. It'll work, but not really well. So we want it to be tight. I mean, if I pull it up a little bit, all of a sudden it doesn't clatter anymore because this part didn't get the shock from the timing belt breakage. So what I'll probably end up doing is taking the engine that's off screen here that you can't see, and I'll be working on, I'll pull this sprocket, gear, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to pull this off that engine. There's a pretty good chance that one's going to be in better shape. And this is the nice thing about having 2 engines to work with. You can mix and match parts and make a halfway decent one. And this one will be halfway decent. One of the things that I want to show you, well, there's 2 things I want to show you. One, I'll just go out and get it. It's right here. This is the flywheel. And I've cleaned the flywheel off. I got to do a little bit more cleaning to it. But I don't know if you can see this here or not. I'm kind of tilted on an angle. There's a couple of, I won't call them hot spots, but a couple of areas where there's wear, but a lot of the original machining marks are still in this flywheel after 215,000 miles, and that's pretty amazing. I'm really excited about this because there's no heat cracking here either. If the clutch was slipped a lot, it would have overheated the material. It would have done a surface overheat, and that leads to cracking, and then the flywheel has to be machined and or replaced. And quite honestly, this doesn't have to be replaced. It's in really nice shape. Same thing's true of the clutch plate itself. Not the disc, but the clutch plate, the pressure plate. It looks really good too. I don't have to replace it. So I'm going to put a whopping $42 into a new clutch disc. I have this one here. And this really isn't that terribly worn considering it has 215,000 miles on it. There's still evidence of we'll call them wear bars, but they're actually there to move dust out of the way and also give some cooling to the clutch plate. Those bars are still there. So this is in really nice shape too, considering it's got 215,000 miles on it. I checked with the original owner and he said, nope, never changed clutch. So this is really nice. I like it, but we'll put a new one in because it's this far apart. Even though this one would last for a while longer, there's no reason why not to. So we're going to put another clutch in it. That goes in there like that. All right, I'm going to show you something really cool that I'm totally amazed with. So hang on. Okay, we're back again. And what I wanted to show you is this. This is the bore that had the bad leakage. It had no compression in it whatsoever. This is in the engine that's going in the car. And what you see there are some fine scratches. Those are known as hone marks. This engine, and I'm going to run my fingernail across this so you can see, there's no lip here at all. There's none. I could pop these pistons out, no problem at all. But more importantly, these hash marks that you can see right here, those little cross hatches, those are hone marks. It is absolutely amazing to me to see hone marks on an engine with almost 200,000 miles. That's just utterly amazing. These are there to help seat the rings. They're there to provide lubrication to the rings. And this one has a little light scoring down in here. You can see that right there. And even a little pitting, it looks like, on one of the rings. But by and large, let me see if we can see those. You can see there's some hone marks there too. This engine is in really, really, really good shape for an engine that has 200,000 miles on it almost. There's some slight discoloration here, but there's almost no carbon built up on the engine either. I'm just shocked. I'm gobsmacked. It shouldn't be this clean, in my opinion. I've got another engine which I'm building for Rob Neighbor, and it's been rebuilt once, and there's this huge honking ridge here that just it's dirty, nasty, and ugly, and that's not here. So it's a really nice engine, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like once it's installed in the car. So we're here with the trashed head. I figured I'd give you a quick tour of this and try to give you a feel for what's going on with it. I've got it tilted up. I'll have a little bit more static head when I go to put some water in it, and we'll do a quick leak test on this so you can see where it's leaking from. It happens to be leaking from these valves. I don't know which one. I'm going to guess this one, but that's I got 50-50 chance of being right. So let me add some water here. Come on, you can do it. I'm missing. I'm making. Let's watch it now. And we're full. And we'll watch and we'll see if we get some leakage here. Normally this takes a while, but you know, maybe we'll get something after a minute or two. Oh, you know, looking a little moist over here actually. Hard to tell. We'll give it another minute or two. Now, truth be told, if it was leaking, the valves would have hit up here. You might have seen evidence of some damage, but I don't see where it looks like it hit. However, it does look, I can't get much closer than that, it does look a little moist around that one. Not getting much of anything here. This is why it has to sit for a long time. It takes a while to actually get liquid to seep out, but eventually it does. Okay, we're back after a couple of minutes have elapsed, and well, you can see it now. I've got water is definitely starting to seep and weep from this valve, not this one, but this one, and it's working its way across the surface of the, I don't know if you can see that, it's wet. It's seeping around the edges and it's invading the surface of the valve, and it's starting to go wet down here too. So it was this valve that was bad, not this one, which surprised me. I thought it would be this one. That's definitely this one. So there you go. That's why this had leaked and why we're replacing it. It's not a big leak, but these things tend not to get better but worse with time, so this is the time to change it. So that's what we're going to do. So overall, pretty good engine. We'll put the head from the engine that was in the car over here. I have new gaskets for it. They just arrived today. We'll put it together, and I've got to wait a day or two for the clutch disc to show up. Should be here Monday, which means if all goes well, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I move slow. I'm an old guy. Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, we'll have it in the car and we'll try to turn it over, and you can be the first ones to see it run or not run or blow up. Who knows? But based on the fact that there wasn't any oil leaking off the rear main seal, the junk engine, by the way, I tilted it back and the oil made it to the rear main seal area, and this engine was so shot, it dumped, oh crap, about a half a gallon of oil on my driveway. My wife's going to love me when she gets home. Even less so, more so, I don't know. She's just not going to like me very much. For this crappy car, it's Chuck Sherman, and enjoy the ride.